أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه ثم السلام على آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم الأجمعين إلى يوم الدين صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة صدق الله العظيم صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Now we've been looking at this ayah in conjunction with the memes, and I spelt meme as M-E-M-E, but we've used the Arabic meme. And basically meme was a phrase coined by Richard Dawkins in his book in 1976, where he said it's something that goes viral. I'm using our words, but it's brought down from generation to generation. It changes behaviors. And people want to do it. So everything we do is literally a meme. Now today, we're going to talk about something that brings everything we've talked about in the last few days all together. First of all, I'm going to talk about Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the night before Ashura, or the day before Ashura. So the enemy ranks are saying, we want to fight today, which is the 9th of Muharram. We want to end this battle today. Whatever they came up with, they wanted the 9th. So he sends Hazrat Abbas and he says, can you tell them, I just want one night's respite. And the enemies were laughing. These are Muslims. They're believers. They're laughing. They're saying, are you scared? He said, I just want one night. And they say, we want a reason. No, just give us one night. They said, yeah, have as many nights as you want. One night, we're going to defeat you anyway. And when he sits with Hazrat Abbas, he says, I want this one night for 4 reasons. Ana uhibbu salaa. I love Salah. وَتِلَاوَةِ كِتَابِهِ. And I love to recite his book. وَكَثْرَةُ الدُّعَاء. I love lots of dua. وَالْإِسْتِغْفَارِ. Now all of these in essence are encompassed in Salah. If you and I were told one day that you were given a choice, you had a menu. On that menu it had keys. And there were lots of keys. There was a key to a mansion. There was a key to, I don't know, Stanmore. And then there was a key to Jannah. There's all these keys. If you really thought and you understood life, you would pick the key to Jannah. It's a no-brainer. Because you know, if I've got Jannah in the Akhirah, I've got Jannah in the dunya, automatically. And that's not something to think about. Salah, in essence, is the key to Jannah. It doesn't take a lot of time, yet it eludes many of us. There is something about Salah that eludes us. We carve out time for the gym because we want to be physically fit. The same creator who created physicality created the nafs. If you ask, I know we park near the gym, like we find parking right near the door and then we go in, right? And these days there's this fashion of 10,000 steps. Have you seen that? Everybody has this watch or a pedometer with 10,000 steps. You do know that there was a Japanese clockmaker who in 1964, the Olympics in Tokyo, 1964, he thought, I want to sell my pedometer. And he drew this thing of a man, and he translated in Japanese at 10,000 steps, and we just follow, no? Normally. So we said 10,000 steps, although scientists tell us 3,000 steps is enough. I also know people who, if at the end of the day haven't done 10,000, they go up and down their stairs until that watch says 10,000. It's okay, it's good for you. It's good for you, okay? So we carve out time because we're so worried about our bodies. If a doctor were to give me a prescription and say, take these, and take this prescription, it must be had 3 times a day with your meals, and you've got to finish this. If you don't finish antibiotics, you know what happens, don't you? If you don't finish this prescription, you're in trouble. We take this religiously because we're so worried. Yet when the prescription of Salah is given, we say, why? And then when we're told, why didn't you pray Salah this afternoon? Oh, I had such an important meeting. No. I was shopping. I was in Watford. How am I going to pray over there? It's very difficult. I'm going to give you another scenario. Say, for example, you were in this very important meeting and you really wanted to go to the bathroom. I mean, like, really. Would you actually go to the bathroom on your chair, or would you say, excuse me, I need to go out? Would you finish what you wanted to do on your chair? Would you actually say, excuse me, I just need to go out for 2 minutes? Why can we not do that with Salah? It is exactly the same thing, because the soul needs to be nourished, just as the body needs to be nourished. It's exactly the same thing. There is no difference. You know, if you look at everything that the ulama tell us, and they've taken this from ahadith, I'm not talking about today's ulamas, but if you look at the ulama before, they would not call any other crime, if you committed any crime at all, they would not say that you're not a Muslim. But if you don't pray, there are many who say you're not a Muslim. So there is Salah, as-salatu umudud deen. Quran says Salah is the key to, or the Prophet says Salah is the key to Jannah. I'm going to go through some bits about Salah from the Quran so we understand. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Surah number 23, please look it up. Qad aflahal mu'minun. Definitely. Those who believe are successful. Khalas, you've made it. You've done it. But then it gives you 13 qualities. And the first quality is alladina hum fi salatihim khashi'un. Those who are in awe of their Creator in Salah. We do not, I'm talking about me first. The Salah has to be the most important aspect of our lives. We need help, no? Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in 10 times. He's saying, wasta'inu bis-sabri was-salah. If you want help, ask help through sabr and salah. Sabr is self-mastery, where you can hold on to yourself even though your emotions are running every which way but. Incidentally, that's ayah 45, Surah Al-Baqarah. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهُ, Allah says, وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا لَلْخَاشِينَ. It's very difficult. The Prophet said, moving a mountain is easier than doing this. Let's go a bit further. You hear this all the time in every majlis. As-salatu tanha anil fahshai wal munkar. Nobody wants to do bad. Nobody likes to be called bad. When we do something wrong, it hurts. It hurts their soul. Quran says, this is Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 45 again. It says, you want to keep away from it? Pray Salah. Just pray Salah. Surah Al-Luqman, Surah number 31. It's the best surah. If as a parent you want to give your child some advice, just tell them to read Surah Al-Luqman. If you don't know what to write in your will, tell them, read Surah Al-Luqman. And he calls his son Bunayya. Bunayya, you know, it's like that. My darling, my beloved, my sweetie pie, whatever you want to say. So, Ya Bunayya. What does he say? Aqimis Salah. Now, he doesn't say pray Salah. And everywhere in the Quran, it says, Aqimis Salah wa atuz zakah. Aqimis Salah wa atuz zakah. It doesn't say pray Salah. It says establish Salah in your life. Now, the translation is establish. I'm going to expound on it a bit. Iqama is to stand. So imagine a child building bricks up. Have you seen a child building bricks up? Problem with children is they build it and then they like to break it again, right? But here you've built something, and aqim salah means to maintain it so it stays standing. Say take a plant. If you take a plant, especially one of those that doesn't stand on its own, you put a stick in to help it stand. That is aqim salah, to be able to preserve it, to be able to maintain it, to help it to stand. So Allah is not telling me go and pray once. He says aqim salah. If I want to build my physical stamina, I'm not going to go to the gym one day, or I'm not going to go do my 10,000 steps one day and they say, maybe 10 days later I'll do it again. It has to be a continuous thing. It's like salah. If I want to build my spiritual muscle, don't do anything else. Forget everything else. Just salah. Just salah. You know, in this community, we have an organization called Cupid, QPID, where we do matchmaking. And many times when you get a profile from someone, they will say, I'm not very religious, but I do the basics. The moment they say they pray salah, khalas. That's it. You know everything else will slot itself in its own place. But if there is no salah, there is no communication with Allah. It is like getting the number of a really important person whom you have at hand. And you can contact them whenever you want. And He is the creator of the universe. He says, kun, and it is fayakun. He gives you that number. Contact me anytime. But these are the particular times I really like you to do that, to connect with me. What does salah mean? It comes from the Arabic word sila or salawaw, which is connection. To follow closely. To be in touch with someone, to communicate with someone. And every single thing you and I do in salah has an effect. The physicality, you know, the standing and the bowing and the sajda, has amazing. Do you know it reads Adam? Standing is alif, ruku is dal, and the sajda is mim. Oh, you didn't know that. Good, now you do, okay? So this is just something that I want to go along. What is the most awesome part of salah? You wait for sajda. You want to go into sajda, like quickly. All right, take your time. But when you get into sajda, stay there. That is where du'as are heard. Don't let anybody tell you that you only had to read Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdi. That's from Surah Al-A'la, Ayah 1. When that was revealed, Sabbihisma Rabbikal A'la, the Prophet said, put it in your sajda. You want to ask dua? Ask it in there. And I know, we'll come to it, you know, you have Ya Khairal Mas'wilin, Ya Khairal Mu'tin, these are all, but Allah understands languages, and we'll talk about that as well. But right now, know that is the most important part. Imam Ali said, if people knew the importance of sajda, they wouldn't lift their heads. The other thing about sajda is, we put our forehead on the ground. Don't we do that? Earth. And we have the privilege of having this piece of sajda, we call it sajdaga more, I think we call it more, or sajdaga, which has the grains of Karbala in it. Where Abu Abdullah did his sajda. I mean, we ground. Go to any scientist. Okay, Google it, because I'm quite good at telling you to Google it, right? So I'm going to try and find this person. I've got his name somewhere. He says that he's a cardiologist. He says if you want to reduce inflammation, if you get calmness of your heart, if you don't want your heart to palpitate, ground yourself. And grounding means putting your forehead onto the ground. We are told do this 5 times a day. So I'm going to go through each aspect of salah with you, see what time we have, and then today we're talking about an awesome personality, Abbas. But let me read you one hadith of the Prophet, and you need to imagine it. The Prophet said, when you stand for salah, all your sins are placed on your shoulder and on your head. When you go to ruku, a majority fall off. When you go to sajda, all of them are gone. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? It takes a little bit of time. So every time you stand for salah, imagine those sins on your head. And then imagine you're going and it's gone. Khalas. There's nothing left. And nobody can point a finger at you. Because I said before and I repeat again, one judge position taken, when it's empty, we will all apply. Okay? Now, the first thing that happens is you need to know times of salah. Yes? We need to know them. Okay, Ramadan to the 2nd, Maghrib. And we all fight. Oh, is Sehri, what time is it? Can I eat 5 minutes before? Can I eat 10 minutes before? Khalas, Ramadan, Sehri is gone. Okay, Sehri is gone, Ramadan's gone, Fajr is gone. So time for Salah this morning. Okay, this is not workshop, I know, you don't have to put up your hands. It's 3:23, you all know that. Doesn't matter, 3:20, at least you know that it's around that time, right? Next Salah is Zohar. And what is Zohar? Okay, I know you will write to me and you will tell me that different places differ. It's okay. It's all right, whatever you follow. They're approximately the same time. It's not like an hour away or half an hour away. It's a little bit of time. Zohar, about 10 past 1, 12 past 1, right? Okay. Now the part where we're going to get stuck. When is Asr? Oh. About 5:15. We good? And I've mentioned this again. If you pray 5 times a day, you don't stop being a Shia. Huh? You're still a Husseini. You're still a Husseini, and you should. Okay, Maghrib. Okay, sorry. Maghrib is about 8:50, 8:53, and then Isha is 10:30. So first you need to know the times of Salah. And they must be ingrained here. If for any reason whatsoever, and there is no reason, but if there's a reason where you cannot just pray at that time, stop and raise your hands in dua, because that is when angels descend onto the earth. Just raise, Ya Allah, say, this is my hajat, this is the time of Salah, I'm going home, I'm praying just now, or I'm going outside and I'm praying just now. Okay, the wives of the Prophet used to say, as soon as the time of Salah set in, it was like you didn't know who Muhammad was. As though there was a different entity over there. As though he just didn't know us. He disconnected from us completely. Salah is actually disconnecting from everything else and connecting yourself to divinity. It's just like your phone. It's run out of battery. You immediately go and charge it. If you can't find a charger, you go and ask people, please, can I have a charger? Please, can I have a charger? That's what people do. Phones these days, oh my goodness. And you know what? If they can't find somebody to charge them, they carry this big pack with them. We've seen them. But you tell them to carry a more and tasbih. They say, our bags are too small, can't carry it, okay? Now, Imam Ali says, as the time of Salah used to come, we used to say, Bilal, Bilal, please relieve us of our misery. We want to enter the shores of Rahmah. Please recite Adhan. And he would say, I can't recite when it's not time. I have to wait for the time to set in. He used to wait, like literally wait for when the time of Salah would come. So to wait on your musalla, and we have so much rahmah. 8 rakats of Zohar, 8 rakats of Isha Nafila. So you pray it while you're waiting, and then exactly on time, you stand up and you pray. It's just something else. And the adhan comes, and hayya alal falah. Hurry to, and I know it's translated as success. Falah is what? What is a farmer. Falah is, once he's planted his seeds, the harvest is falah. So hayya alal falah, hurry to cultivate the seeds of what you've planted in the world. Everything you have done, if you want success, pray. The success will come through its prayer. You cannot find any masoom anywhere. Abu Abdullah, the one we are sitting for, what did he do? Time for Zohar, Abu Thamama raises his hands and he says, Ya Hussein, look at the sun. It's time for Zohar. Ya Allah, may Allah place you amongst the Musallin. Imam Hussein prays like that. It's phenomenal. That's his dua to him. Okay. So we're going to cultivate this salah. Then we go do wudu. Where is the ayah for wudu? Surah number 5, ayah 6. So easy to remember. How many salawat in a day? 5. With tahajjud, how many? 6. So remember 5, 6. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, or you who believe. Idha kumtu, when you stand, ila salah, fagsilu wujuhakum, wash your faces, wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq. Do you remember Rafiki? You do, don't you? Right. Ila al-marafiq, up to here. Then he says, wamsahu, then wipe. Biru'usikum, a little bit of your head. And then he says, wamsahu biru'usikum wa arjulukum ila ka'bayn, and then wipe your legs until the ka'bayn. Now I'm not going to go to fiqh masails, but read 5, 6, it tells you what you do with wudu. Some people came to the Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, but why do we have to wash the clean parts in wudu? I mean, these are the clean bits, they don't get very dirty. Why do we wash them? He said, when Adam was told by Shaitan, he told him, I'm a really good advisor of yours. And he said, if you want to stay in Jannah forever, if you want permanent residency, then that's the tree you eat from. What did Adam do? Look at the tree, the face. How did he get to the tree? He walked, the feet. How did he get hold of the fruit? With his arms. And then when he realized it's a mistake, it's human beings. He put his head on his hand. And he says, that is why you do that. So you remember. That is what happened to your grandfather Adam. So these were things that he was asked. Now, as you approach Salah, you've done your wudu. And by the way, there are du'as for wudu. I don't have time to go into them. We can provide them for you to match your bathrooms. You know that? So write to us and inshallah, somebody will get them done for you. And you can imagine, you're walking towards your musalla. As you're walking towards your musalla, the Prophet says, Allah is saying, where were you? I've been waiting for you since the last Salah. Where are you? And Imam Sadiq says, it's just like walking to the palace of a king. And you've got your musalla. Incidentally, walking to the mosque carries so much thawab. But you can't come to the mosque. Create a place at home where you can pray. And that is the place you will go to when you're ill, when you're upset, when you're anxious. Because that place will provide you with sukoon. And get as many people to come home and pray over there. And it makes such a difference. That's your place of salah. Okay. Now you're praying, you've stood there, and the first thing you're going to do is face Qibla. Obviously, you move your musalla to face Qibla. Qibla is like this Feng Shui stuff. Have you read it? They come into your home and they tell you, make this way, and this has bad energy and good energy and whatever. We are told Qibla has the best of energies. That's why you don't go to the bathroom facing Qibla or your back behind Qibla. It's not fiqh, okay? It's because there's such positive energy coming out of there. So you're facing Qibla. You got a problem, you can't solve it, face Qibla. You're studying for an exam, it's not working out, face Qibla. See the difference it makes. The vibes of Tawheed are absolutely phenomenal because the whole world is facing that way. Okay. Then you cover yourself. We have the privilege of covering ourselves up. And I was reading the book Adab Salah by Imam Khomeini. Please read it. He wrote it and he dedicated it to his daughter-in-law because he said, it is you who will transmit it to the children. And today all of us have a copy of it. Well, I hope so. Or all of us have got access to it online that we can look at. So when you cover yourself, he says, you are covering yourself with the rahmah of Allah, the forgiveness, the rahmah of Allah. And obviously, you don't need fiqh to tell you that you will try and cover yourself as much as possible. It's a phenomenal aspect. You know what? The way I was taught by my father. And my father used to tell me, to cover yourself means you're being hugged by divinity. And you just wanted that hug everywhere. Okay, so and you don't want a dirty hug. So you make sure that chadar is a bit clean, no? Otherwise it sort of stays in that musalla. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. Stays in that musalla, and especially it's one of those chadars with the rubber thing. The chin is, oh my goodness, like that. Right? I don't know what happens. Anyway. Adhan and Iqamah. Never start Salah without Adhan and Iqamah. The moment you recite Adhan and Iqamah, even if you've heard it, there's a row of angels behind you who actually pray behind you. There's loads of angels who stand behind you. And you're actually telling your body parts, everybody around you, meeting has started. Khalas, nothing else. And then the most beautiful part of Salah. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater than everything and everyone. And nothing should disturb you except that which threatens your life. Your life, your children, your izzat. That's it. Nothing. You cut yourself off from absolutely everything. And you tell yourself, He is greater than everything and everyone. You imagine the feeling. And then the beautiful dua after takbir taught by Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. Ya muhsinu kadatakal musi, or one who does ihsan. In front of you is a sinner. فَتَجَاوَزَ عَنْ قَبِيهِ مَا عِنْدِ بِجَمِيلِ مَا عِنْدَكَ يَا كَرِيمٌ. Change what is ugly in me with what is beautiful in you. Please recite this dua after takbir. It's probably one of the most beautiful du'as that exists, taught by Imam Zainul Abidin. You can't remember it in Arabic? In front of you is a sinner. Tell him, change what is bad in me or ugly in me to what is beautiful in you. That's it. And then Qiyam. Yawmul Qiyamah comes from Qiyam, the day of long standing. We're standing there. And then the essence of salah is to be able to recite qira'at, which is Surah Al-Fatiha and another surah. Now we've already talked about Surah Al-Fatiha. We've talked about its essence, we've talked about how to recite it, and I won't go into it again. But we are told that the weight of the revelation, because you've got the whole Quran with you now. Remember, Fatiha is in a nutshell is Quran. And you've got that Quran in you. With that weight, you go into ruku because you cannot stand anymore. You cannot experience Quran except in salah. I will repeat again. You cannot experience Quran except in salah. You do not stop being a Shia if you use other surahs of the Quran. You don't have to pick only the small ones. Ask anybody, they will say, after Fatiha, maybe Kul, and if I'm getting rate, Asr, maybe Kawthar, and we are told maybe just Qadr and then Ikhlas in the second rakah. Really? That was for our convenience. We need to be able to recite other surahs. Okay, don't read Baqarah. I agree. Be hard. Don't read Ma'idah. Be hard. An'am, oh my goodness, it'll take a long time. But at least Jumu'ah we should know. The small surahs, which I say, the Juz Amma, we should know them. Adiyat, Nadiyat, all these, Ghashiyah. Do you know if your child cries a lot? Recite Ghashiyah in Salah. If your child cries a lot, you know in Salatul Jumu'ah, if you can't read Jumu'ah in Munafiqun, you read A'la and Ghashiyah. Your child cries a lot? Whines a lot when they're adults? Okay. Husbands whine a lot? Under their pillow, put Ghashiyah. Ghashiyah written on white silk. They'll stop whining, okay? Maybe we whine more than them. But anyway, that's something else altogether. So these are surahs that we need to recite. You will experience it in salah. It will penetrate you in there. So you bow down in ruku. And ruku, we say, Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamdi. Where's that from? Surah Al-Waqiyah, ayah 74. When Quran says, فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْعَظِيمِ. And the Prophet said, put it in your ruku. Now, just a little bit of a preamble. How can it be that we don't understand our salah? How? What is wrong? I mentioned this before, I repeat it again. Here I am. I have a good friend of mine come and visit me. She's not a Muslim. And I say, time for salah, my goodness, I have to go and pray. Can I come and watch you? Yeah, of course you can. So she comes and watches me. And then she says, what was that? I don't know. Why did you stand? What did you say? Don't know. What did you say when you were bowing down? I don't know. Oh, you're talking to your God? Yeah? And you don't know what you're telling him? No. How long have you been doing this? I'm 63. Well, about maybe 60 years, because my mom taught me how to pray when I was 2 or 3. And for 60 years, you're talking to your God, and you don't know what you're saying, no. And you want me to be a Muslim, yeah? Make your own minds up. When you do ruku, you watch between your legs, right? You're not supposed to look at such the guy, you're looking between your legs. Or are you telling you and myself? Me, I'm telling myself that is the tiny space I occupy on this vast earth. That's all. Khalas. That's all I occupy. And when I die, as the philosophers tell me, it's like putting my hand in a bucket. Make a little bit of a ripple. When you take it out, a little while later, the ripples finish, and they won't even know who you are. So it brings in humility. Now, when you stand up again, you're not standing as the same person who stood. It's a different person who's standing up. And that person with humility now is saying, Sami Allahu liman hamida. The first person that stood up had a little bit of, it's me, But the one who stood up after ruku now is totally humble. And he or she says, I cannot stand. In front of my Creator, it's impossible for me to stand. And therefore I go into sajda. And when I go into sajda, that is the place where my whatever I'm saying is heard in the highest of heavens. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. I declare the perfection of the Most High. I'm in that position right down there. If that proximity of sajda is known, you wouldn't lift your heads. You just stay there for as long. Stay there. Calm down. Ask him. Ask him for what you want. And then you get up. and you say, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. And when Imam Ali was asked about it, he quoted an ayah of Surah Taha, Surah number 20, ayah 55. He say, Minha khalaqnakum wa fiha nu'idukum wa minha nukhrijukum taratan ukhra. From it you were created. Then you will be brought out of it. From it too you will return, and then you will be brought out again. That is life. We come out of the earth, we sit down. That is that period of time when we say Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. We go back, we die, and then we'll be raised again on the day of Qiyamah. So those sajdas literally represent life. Now I said there was a dua, and probably most of you know it. Ya khair al-mas'uleen. Oh, the best of those who is always asked. Ya khair al-mu'teen. Oh, the best of those who gives. Urzukni. Give me rizq. Warzukni ayali. And also my family. Give them the, when I say the sustenance, min fadlika, with your favor. Fa innaka dhul fadlil azim. You're the best person to give fadl. You know, one of the du'as that you may want to do in sajda, and you do it in kunut, maybe we'll talk about dua in kunut tomorrow, is Rabbi ij'alni muqima as-salati wa min dhurriyati. Rabbana wa taqabbal dua. You know, sometimes you look around, like I said the other day, and you think, this child of mine prayed. Now she doesn't pray. What's going on? Well, you can't do much. And I said, no nagging. But you can ask him, and he can change hearts, because you call him Ya Muqallibal Qulub, or the one who changes hearts. Every day in sajda, make me one of those who establishes salah. Make my children, because you want your children to succeed. If I asked you, look deep into your hearts, what do you want in life? You will say, well, sukoon in the world and Jannah in the hereafter. But you don't want to go to Jannah alone. You want your children especially. Oh God, even the non-womb kids, okay, I see one there. So you want all your children to be there. Now I remember my children when I used to tell them, all I want is for you to go to be at the door of Jannah. And they would say, no mama, outside the door everybody will be waiting. Pray we go in. And the way to go in is to have that key. That key is salah. So we pray for them to be able to be those of the musallin. And you know, once they pray, you're done. Absolutely done. And finally, the last two bits is the shahud and salam. The shahud is actually now, because remember in adhan and iqamah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna muhammadar rasulullah. You and I began by testifying his oneness. We began by testifying that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And then we go into a different era, a different place altogether. It's you and Allah. Khalas, nobody else. That the shahud wakes you up back to the world. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And then Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And then the salam. The salam is telling Allah, now I've come back to the world from you. I got to face everything again. I don't want any intrusions. And you use the word Ya Salam, which is that of Allah, to stop us from any sort of intrusions like that. That in essence, and this very short sort of synopsis of Salah, and we'll look at Qunut and Dua tomorrow, inshallah, if we have time. It's phenomenal. But today I wanted to spend a little bit of time on Hazrat Abba. Can I have a salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. I'm going to spend some time talking about this phenomenal personality. I don't even know where to start. I've got quite a lot on him. So I'm going to try and read as much as I can from all the books of hadith. He was a personality that you can't even match. So he is the dua of Imam Ali. So Imam Ali alayhi salam goes to his brother Aqil in the mosque of Medina. Aqil was a genealogist. And remember this, because very many times when we are looking for spouses or for our children, we tend to forget that genealogy, the Prophet said, was really, really important. Where that child came from, where the daughter and the son came from. In fact, anyway, we'll go there later. So here we go. He goes to his brother and he says, I want to marry into a family that has bravery and God consciousness. Aqil said, go, I'll look for somebody. He doesn't say straight away. He didn't have a list or he didn't have a computer where he could look up who's the mom and who's the dad and what the family is. He comes back after a little while and he said, I found a family called the family of Kalabiyya. In their family there is bravery and God consciousness. And they have a daughter called Fatima. So the marriage is arranged between Imam Ali and Fatima. When he brings Fatima to his house and she introduces herself, the children have tears in their eyes. And she turns to Imam Ali and she says, "Do not call me Fatima. For the moment you use that word, the children cry. They remember their mama." So he says, "I will call you Ummulbanin," which is the mother of sons. For the reason that I have asked for you is that you bear sons that will help my Hussein. She has 4 sons, Abbas, Abdullah, Uthman, and Aun. In Karbala, there were 34, 32, 30, and 28. And she has 2 daughters. There were Hani and Jumana. These are the children she has with Imam Ali. So 4 sons and 2 daughters. This is Ummulbanin, phenomenal personality. On the 21st of Ramadan, when Imam Ali is lying on his deathbed, he calls all his children and he gives them to Imam Hassan and he says, "Hassan, you will look after them." In a corner, there is a woman who is crying. She's weeping. And Ali tells her, "Ummulbanin, I'm here. Why are you crying?" She says, "What has my Abbas done wrong? You called everyone. You didn't call my Abbas." He says, "I will." He calls Abbas and he holds his hands. And then he calls Hussein and he says, "I give you these hands, for these hands will protect you, Hussein." He kisses Hussein's neck and Ummulbanin says, "What about my son?" He says, "I will kiss your son's hands, for these hands are as valuable as that neck." We're going back quite a while. It's 40 after Hijrah. There are so many things about Abbas that I could tell you. Let me just tell you what so many Aimma have said. First of all, why was he called Abbas? You all hear the surah of Quran, surah number 80, called Abasa. Abasa is somebody who frowns. Abbas frowned at those who were the enemies of Hussein in the battlefield. Normally it is said if you call somebody Abbas, they can be a little bit angry, okay? But they're cute. The greatest accolade he had was when Imam tells him, "Irqab bi nafsi ya akhi." Try and write that down. Irkab, ride, and we'll come to it when. Ride with my soul, bi nafsi. And Imam is telling him, "Ya akhi, oh my brother," and I'll come to that in a minute. So we have Imam Hazrat Abbas going to Karbala with Imam Hussein all the time. On the night of Ashura, I told you yesterday that Sayyidah Zainab was telling her sons, in one tent there was the sound of crying, like real crying. And Hazrat Abbas had a soft heart. He's known as, in a hadith, it tells him that he was rajulun jamilun kal jabalil azim wa kalbuhu qatawdul jathim. He was a very handsome, very tall man whose heart was so soft. He was like a mountain, but he had the biggest, squishiest, softest heart. That's him. So on the night of Ashura, there's somebody crying. He goes in the tent and it's Kulthum. He says, Kulthum, what's the matter? Why are you crying? I am here. And she says, all these people have got children. And they are dedicated their children to my mama, to Sayyidah Fatima. Tell me, Abbas, on the day of Qiyamah, what will I go with? What will I tell mama? What did I give? I don't have any children. And he says, Kulthum, I am your Abbas. For as long as they remember Abbas, they will remember Kulthum. Always. So whenever you remember Abbas, remember Kulthum. Absolutely phenomenal. Every time he went on Ashura to Imam and he says, I want to go, he would say, no, Abbas, I need you here. And then he hears the children going, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. And this little girl comes up and says, you never say no to me. You're my uncle Abbas. I want water. Just a little bit of water, please. And she gives him the empty water bottle. He takes this mashk, as we call it, or the empty leather water bottle, and he comes to Imam Hussein and he says, how can I say no to her? I'm not going to go fight. I'm just going to go get her some water. That's when he says, Irqab bi nafsi, ride with my soul. Go with my soul. He gets onto the horse, and you can just imagine the separation of these two. Imam Hussein and Abbas, you cannot separate them. He actually manages to get to the water. Now, I'd like you to imagine, because it's important. Imagine you are Sakina. Imagine you are standing on Tille Zainabiyah. You're watching Abbas. You're absolutely sure that he's going to bring water back. The children are crying and weeping, and you're saying, don't worry, my uncle's gone. He's gone. And you're saying, look, I can see the horse. I can see the flag. He's got a flag in his hand because he was the flag bearer of the army of Hussein. He was the general. And she tells the children, don't worry, and they're all quiet. You know, hope is an amazing thing. And she sees this flag get to the water. She doesn't know that when he goes to fill the flask of water, he takes water in his hands and then he throws it away. He says, Abbas, he's talking to himself, Abbas, your master is thirsty and you want to drink water? No, that can never be. He takes the water, he gets back on his horse with his flag, and she's telling the children, I can see him coming back. It'll be minutes now, and we will get water. Suddenly, from behind the trees, there's one Nawfal bin Azraq who cuts off his left arm. The flag falls, and she says, maybe he wants to come quicker. I can't see the flag, but maybe he wants to get here quicker. She doesn't know what has happened. And then we find Hakim bin Tufail cuts off the other arm. Quickly he grabs the mashk or the water bottle with his teeth. She sees a bit of a pause. She says, don't worry, he's trying to fight off people. That's what Sakina is telling the children. With this water bag in his teeth, he rides towards the camp like nothing else. And then suddenly, an arrow pierces the water. He doesn't know what to do. He stops for a while, and they ambush him. They pelt him with swords and spears, and they hit him. And there is an arrow in his eyes, and he falls off his horse. Many times. When Ummulbanin in Medina was told that Qad Qutil Hussein has been killed, she said, don't lie. If my Abbas is there, nobody can touch Hussein. And they said there was treachery with him. They cut off his arms, and she started weeping. And they said, you are crying for your son? She says, no, I would give 1,000 Abbases for Hussein. I cry because I'm thinking, how did my son get off the horse? He didn't have any arms. Oh, you who are telling me that his arms are cut off, tell me, how did he get down to the ground? Hazrat Abbas cries out, Assalamu alayka ya Mawla. Imam runs to the battlefield and he says, Al-an inkasara zahri. My back is broken. Wa kalla hilati. I have no strength at all. When he gets to his brother, he says, Akhi ya nur aini ya shafiqi. Oh, my brother, the light of my eyes. Oh, my friend, what is it? What's happened to you? He takes his head into his lap and he says, do you have any requests? And he says, I have a few requests. Don't take me back. I do not want Sakina to see me because I didn't get water back to her. He says, give my salams to my mama. And if you cannot do that, tell Zainab to give my salams to my mama and to tell her, are you proud of me now? I did what you asked me to do. You said never to call Hussein brother. You said to call him Mawla. I did that. If I live up to her expectations. And finally, if you can, Mawlaya, can I be Babul Hawaj? And Imam Hussein tells him, I have one request too. And he says, anything. What do you want me to do, Ya Mawlaya? He says, for once in your life, say, Ya Akhi, oh my brother. And he dies saying, Ya, oh my brother. Shimr smiles when he hears about Hazrat Abbas being killed because he says, now Hussein shall not escape. I will end with a couple of things. One of them, is when the flag of Abbas, this alam that you see, right? When this flag was brought into the court of Yazid, he stood up, sat down, he stood up, he sat down. He went near the flag and he said, whose flag is that? And they said, that is the flag of Abbas. And he said, هَكَذَا يَكُونَ الْوَفَاء. This is loyalty, that every part of the stick was like it was pierced. It was damaged, except the place where the hand was. He did not let go of it until his arm was cut off. And I will also end finally with Ummulbanin. I mentioned to you that she said she would give 100 Abbases in the way of Hussein. But there was a builder who, when the grave was damaged, was asked to repair the grave of Hazrat Abbas, right near the Furat. And Sayyid Bahrul Ulum had ordered him to do that. And he came up to Sayyid Bahrul Ulum and he said, Sayyid, can I ask you a question? And he said, yeah, go for it. And he said, you've asked me to repair this grave. You said, come and repair this grave. I've repaired it. And then he said, I've been listening to your majlises all my life. And in your majlis, you said Abbas was tall. You said Abbas was this personality whose feet reached the ground when he sat on the horse. But this grave is like a child's grave. Why? Sayyid Bahrul Ulum sat down on the ground and started weeping. And he said, فَقَتُوهُ إِرْبًا إِرْبًا. They cut him into pieces. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. سَيَعْلَمُونَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلِبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. We are told that nobody comes back from the place of Abbas, from remembering him empty. Ya Allah, for all those who have hajat here, please fulfill their hajat. For all the children of our community and for ourselves. Rabbi ja'alni muqim as-salati wa min dhurriyati. Make us of those who establish salah and our children as well. Ya Allah, those who are ill, please give them the shafa bihaqqi Abbas. And Ya Allah, those in the world who are suffering so much, please alleviate their suffering. ربنا فتقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم.